Well, this week marks the 50th anniversary of the JFK assassination. We're going to be at Dealey Plaza all week reporting on the blatant censorship and shutting down of the First Amendment there at the plaza. The official commemoration ceremony will be held at Dealey Plaza, and they're erecting this fence. Only 5,000 people are allowed to come. They had to go through extensive background checks. They do not want anyone there that questions the official narrative. They're really trying to clamp down and just control this story. So we're going to be there reporting from the ground and causing a little bit of a ruckus, if you will. But the interview that's coming up next, James Tague, he was actually at Dealey Plaza when JFK was assassinated, and he was struck by a bullet fragment. He has been uninvited from the 50th anniversary ceremony for the JFK assassination, and he talks about that with Alex Jones.
The third person shot, and the Warren Commission didn't even know about him until later, and then he testified. This is how controlled the FBI whitewash was. And he joins us now, sir. Thank you for coming on.
Good morning.
Well, sir, you've got the floor. Talk about your experience that day, your book, where you break down what really happened, and then now this attack on free speech. It looks like the shadow government didn't just kill our president. 50 years later, they're killing our First Amendment.
Well, my new book, LBJ and the Kennedy Killing, I start from the first to go all the way through. A lot of people, well, let me back up. People 15 years old then are 65 now. So a lot of information that was not known, I've put into a book, 101 stories in 101 chapters. Now, let me go back to that day. I was there by accident. I just got stopped in traffic. Wasn't planning on seeing Kennedy. And my car was stopped under the triple underpass. Got out, walked 4 or 5 steps to get into the visibility of the Dealey Plaza. No more than done that, and somebody throws a firecracker. Pop. Well, that's what it sounded like, but it was the first shot. And I'm thinking to myself, what kind of idiot would be throwing a firecracker with the president driving by? No more than get those thoughts out of my mind, and crack of 2 rifle shots. Something stings me in the face. Well, that catches my attention. There's something going on. Anyway, I'm standing there for a moment, stunned. A man in a suit comes running up to me. Turns out he's a deputy sheriff named Buddy Walters. And he asked me, he says, "What's going on down here?" I said, "I don't know." We stand there for a moment and notice that the motorcycle policeman's talking to a couple of people, what is now known as the grassy knoll. We wait for traffic to clear, which had been released after the motorcade, and get across the street just in time to hear this man sobbing. His head exploded. And the policeman says, "Whose head?" And he says, "The president's." And I'll never forget Deputy Sheriff Buddy Walters turned to the grass there beside the sidewalk and kicking the grass with his toe hard as he could. Damn, damn, damn. He looked up at me and he says, "You got blood on your face." And I reached up and palmed my hand, sure enough. And I remember something stinging me doing the crack of 2 rifle shots. Buddy asked me, he says, "Where were you standing?" And I said, "Back over where you ran up to me." And so we wait for traffic to clear again, and before we can get over to the point between Main and Commerce, it's very narrow right there before it goes under the underpass, Buddy speaks up and says, "Look there on the curb." We could see from across the street a bullet mark on the curb. And we stand there, look at it, we both felt of it, tried to line it up, and finally we go back across the street where people start together and comparing notes what just happened. I'm asked to stick around. They want to get a statement from me. Well, about 20 minutes after the shooting, I suddenly remember my car still sitting out in the street. So I go jump in it to move it, get it out of the way, and repark, and I couldn't. Crowds of people had suddenly come on Dealey Plaza, and it was a traffic jam. So I drove on down to the police station, told the desk sergeant I was there. He sent me up to homicide, and I sat in homicide for perhaps 30 minutes until a sergeant walks, or detective named Gus Rose walks in. And the detective takes out a yellow pad and takes briefly the notes. It was very simple. I just got stopped in traffic and something that stung me on the cheek, blah, blah, blah. And as we're about to end up, there's a noise there at the door of homicide, and two policemen bring a man in handcuffs behind his back. And Detective Rose says, "What you got there?" And one of the policemen says, "This is the man that killed the policeman over in Oak Cliff a while ago." So anyway, I was excused at that point, went home. But that night, I noticed on TV the man they'd brought in while I was there was Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, at that point, I sat down that evening for some reason, I don't know why, and pulled out a spiral notebook and wrote down everything I could remember from that day.
Well, I know why. That's common sense. You just saw the president get executed, and you want to keep everything fresh. That's exactly what I would do.
Well, that's what I did. Still got it today. And anyway, through the years, I collected a lot of notes, this, that, and the other. Put it out of my mind for years. This was something in the past. Did not allow it to interfere with my family or my career. But my wife kept a lot of notes and got it in the books. In 1988, I'm on a plane going to New York. And get talking to the lady next to me. It turns out she's Madeline Brown, Lyndon Johnson's mistress for 21 years. The tale she told me was almost unbelievable. I absorbed it, put it in the back of my mind, but did not let it get to me.
And by the way, I knew her and interviewed her in person many times, and she even had a son with LBJ.
Stephen.
Absolutely, and I had family that lived in Austin at the time, and I mean, pretty much everybody then, it was such a small town, knew about LBJ and the things he was up to, but it's on record that that really was his mistress.
That's correct. That's correct. But anyway, she had a long tale to tell, which I'm sure you probably heard what she had to say.
No, but recap it for folks.
Well, you know, that about him getting drunk and telling her the planning and things that they did. That
And we can't say it on air because it's profane, but, you know, that son of a you-know-what will never embarrass me again after tomorrow.
Well, that's correct. Well, that goes back to the meeting the night before the assassination at the Clint Murchison house.
All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We'll be here again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central, but please check out our footage. We'll be at Dealey Plaza Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday, and we're going to be reporting live from there. You can watch that at prisonplanet.tv. And of course, you can always share your username and password with up to 10 other people at the same time. So go ahead and share that live transmission from Dealey Plaza. Thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow. Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at INFOWARS.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at INFOWARS.com/show.